Well, it is 7:46. And I'm going to officially open the meeting for their Tuesday night, March 28th. Welcome, everyone. As my role as president, I always like to open up with our mission statement. And it goes as follows. The mission of Golden Speakers is to create a supportive and positive learning environment in which each member has the opportunity to develop verbal communication and leadership skills, which welcome self-confidence and personal growth. Give it up for everyone. Welcome, Karthik.
Hi, Bob. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Karthik. Glad you put up. So the motivational quote. This one is from Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker. He's been around for quite some time. His quote is simply like this: shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you will still be among the stars. Looks like that's where Vivek is. His other quote is, as too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. Les Brown. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Vivek, which is our Toastmaster this evening. Vivek, it's all yours, bud.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, for such motivational quotes. And today, the theme of today's meeting is getting in gear. So let's get it started. My boss told me to get my butt in gear. I told him I was syphilis. J. London. So the today's meeting itself rotated around this theme, getting in gear. And today we have our speaker, beautiful Alex, who shall share her speech on the meditation. Now I shall introduce the role players. The first one is Karthik, who is the timer. So Karthik, would you kindly explain your roles for today's meeting?
Sure. Sure, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote specific times remaining. For table topic speakers, during 1 minute I'll raise the green card. In 1 minute 30 seconds I'll raise the yellow one, and then 2 minutes I'll raise the third red card. After which you have 30 more seconds to complete your speech, and then for any speech that Alex is about to make, I'll give a 5 minute. I mean, during 5 minutes I'll show a green card, and then during 6 minutes I'll show a yellow, and then during 7th minute I'll show a red one. She has 30 more seconds to complete her speech. And for evaluations, it's between 2 to 3 minutes. 2 minutes I'll show green. 2 minutes 30 seconds I'll show yellow, and 3 minutes I'll show a red. Sometimes it's 3 to 4, and it's accordingly noted. And I'll report my timings at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. So in today's agenda, I see the timing for art is 3 to 5 minutes. Is that right? For his evaluation, I think.
Okay. I just set the general timings that is noted in the... Okay.
Okay, let's move ahead. So the next role player is grammarian. And the grammarian for today's meeting is Dan. And Dan has already shared the word of the day in the chat. So Dan, kindly share your role.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. As Vivek said, the word of the day is earnest. It's an adjective that means not distracted, focused on a particular goal, devout, or heartfelt, characterized by a firm belief in the validity of one's own opinion. It can also be used as a noun, something of value given by one person to another to bind a contract. I'm sure most of us have heard about earnest money in a real estate closing. An example for the word: the sky darkened and thunder rumbled as the storm began in earnest. Try to use the word as you speak tonight, and you'll get gold stars. What could be better? My other job as grammarian is to listen to all the speaking that occurs tonight, to note particularly colorful or vivid uses of language, to note if there's any language that needs correction, and I'll give a report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Dan. Now, moving on to our next role player, who is Sue, and she is the accountant for today's meeting. Sue, would you kindly explain us your role for today's meeting?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as the counter tonight, I will be noting words and sounds that may be used as a crutch or a pause in between. Also, I'll look for words that are inappropriate. I'll be counting the number of ums, ers, ands, buts, you knows, any repeats or any restarts within a new thought. And I'll also be, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sue. And now our next role player is Jean, who is the general evaluator as well as the joke master for today's meeting. So, Jean, kindly explain your role.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. You'll hear from me later. As the general evaluator, I'll be evaluating the evaluators and also telling a joke. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay. Thank you, Jean.
Mhm.
I look forward to the joke and the evaluation, of course. Now, moving on to our next session, the featured speech session. So today, Alex has prepared the speech and she shall deliver to us. And as her evaluator, Sean, no, her evaluator is Bob, and Bob shall read the speech objectives for Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This evening, Alessandra, she's going to be given her speech. And speech title, if I understand it, is Introduction to Meditation, if that's correct.
No.
And was that correct?
Introduction of Transcendental Meditation and its benefits.
Oh, and its benefits, excuse me.
Good.
And its benefits. Thank you for the correction.
Mhm.
And the purpose of her speech of this project is for her to deliver the speech with awareness of intentional or unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how she uses nonverbal communication when delivering her speech. During her speech project, we'll see different practicing of her body language and including gestures or nonverbal communication. She will present a well-organized speech on the topic which she has chosen, and we'll watch her give her speech. Speech can be funny, informational, or anything she chooses. And we're going to leave it to Alex to do her effective body language project. Hand it over to you, Alessandro.
And thank you, Bob. And I shall provide the introduction to Alex. So Alex was born in Brazil, but has been living in the US for almost 20 years. She is in Golden Toastmasters for 2 years and is hoping to improve her presentation skills and feel more comfortable when delivering a speech or talking in public. She recently completed her level 1 of the presentation mastery pathway. This is the second speech of the level 2, effective body language. The title of her speech is Introduction to Transcendental Meditation and its Benefits. Please help me warmly welcome Alex.
I would like to welcome you all here today in this introductory talk on Transcendental Meditation. My name is Alessandra Givens, and I'm a certified Transcendental Meditation teacher. My background is in Ayurveda medicine, and I'm also a certified personal trainer. In the short talk, I would like to introduce you to what Transcendental Meditation is and its benefits in two main areas of life: to increase mental potential and to improve health. So what is Transcendental Meditation? Transcendental Meditation is an easy, effortless, and natural meditation technique that is practiced twice a day for 20 minutes, sitting comfortably with the eyes closed, so the awareness can go inwards. This universal meditation technique is practiced by millions of people all over the world to reduce stress, to improve health, and to increase one's sense of well-being, so one can live a more productive and successful life in all areas of life. Just as watering the roots of a tree makes all aspects of the tree flourish, the regular practice of transcendental meditation enhances every aspect of life. As a personal trainer, I like to compare the practice of transcendental meditation to a workout routine for the mind. The same way as we maintain a regular workout routine so the body can function properly, the regular practice of transcendental meditation allows the mind to go inwards so we can grow beyond the levels of the senses and expand to its full potential. But the great thing is that you don't have to do anything. Just sit comfortably with the eyes closed, and the mind will do all the work by going inwards and settling down. So let's explore how transcendental meditation can increase mental potential. As we said, transcendental meditation is a mental practice that is done by sitting comfortably with the eyes closed so the awareness can go inwards. To transcend means to go beyond. In this case, we're going beyond the surface, active thinking levels of the mind to experience finer levels of thinking. We can compare the mind to an ocean, where it's active and wavy on its surface, but it's calm and quiet at its depths. With the regular practice of transcendental meditation, we go beyond the surface level or the thinking levels of the mind to experience finer levels of thinking until we get to the source of thought, beyond the finest aspects of thinking. By directly experience this field of calmness or the source of thought, we carry the inner stability of silence to the level of activity. For actions to be powerful, thoughts must be powerful as well. Just as a tree is stronger at its roots, so also a thought is most powerful at its source. And when the mind experiences this field of silence, it becomes soaked with energy, intelligence, and happiness, and it comes out more resilient, refreshed, and ready to experience the world with clarity and joy. Now, let's explore how transcendental meditation can improve health. The unique state of deep rest that is created during a practice of transcendental meditation not only relieves the body from the general fatigue of daily activity, but it also helps to a deep stress that is in the body. As the mind goes inward and to the unbounded field of silence, the body correspondingly gains a unique physiological state of restful alertness, which helps to release stress and also increases the stability and flexibility of the nervous system. The mind and the body are an extension of each other. When the mind settles, the body also settles. This allows the physiology to gain complete settle down, release stress, and get deep rest and release stress. Research has shown that by experiencing this deep rest, the immune system gets stronger, the hormonal system gets balanced, and even behavior can change. This increased coordination between mind and body is beneficial to mental and physical health. Transcendental meditation produces a revitalizing and rejuvenating influence in the body. This rejuvenating influence led researchers in the field of aging to find that those practicing transcendental meditation for 5 years or longer have a biological age 12 years younger than the population's norm. Let me see a raise of hands who would be happy with the side effect. By dissolving the stress in the individual life day by day, we can prevent sickness, improve health to every individual, and consequently to the whole society, because the health of the society is dependent upon the health of its people. I would like to conclude with a quote from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of Transcendental Meditation. Meditation is the direct means to enjoy greatest happiness, and the only means to quench the thirst for happiness on earth. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Alex, for the wonderful speech. Actually, I was feeling like I was revising our course, that of Science of Creative Intelligence, that is taught in Humayun. I think you also took the course, but and with additional inputs on your side, you had such a great inputs. I really loved your speech. So I think now we give 2 minutes to Alex to evaluate Alex's speech, and meanwhile Bob shall evaluate, get ready with the evaluation. So let us all take 2 minutes to evaluate Alex's speech, and Karthik shall keep the note of the time. Okay.
2 minutes is over now. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I hope Alex got some really nice feedbacks in the meantime. So now we shall move on to evaluation of the speech. So Bob, are you ready with the evaluation?
Yes, I believe I am.
Okay. And one more thing to clarify. I see in the agenda sheet that it is mentioned Jean as in the evaluation section. So Jean, are you required to say something, or is there any role?
Because we only have one speech, it's a little bit excessive shifting, but normally we would have, if we had several evaluators right now, I would take over. So if you like, it's something we could adjust the template, but at this point I could introduce Bob as Alex's evaluator, because he's on the evaluation team and I'm the general evaluator for that. So thank you for sticking carefully and reading carefully the agenda. Very well done. And Bob has said he's ready, so let's go ahead and welcome Bob. Oh, Karthik?
Yeah, I have a question. Is Bob's evaluation 2 to 3 minutes, or is it?
Yeah. Speech evaluations are always 2 to 3 minutes. Where we play with it a little bit is when we have a lot of table topics. So yay, Bob. All right.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Wonderful speech this night, Alex. Absolutely wonderful. Alex, when she started her speech off, she greeted the audience. And her hook line was, I'm a teacher and I'm a trainer. And that got my attention. For someone who's a teacher and trainer, they know what they're talking about. So Alex came prepared. I like Alex for her body language. When she first started out, she used hand gestures and such, but the two fingers and the two fingers that focused my eyes, what the two fingers meant. She had 1 point, she had 2 point. And that's a sign of a good speaker. You're captivating the audience. She used power words, analogies, and I like analogies where she related the water, water in the trees with the water in the mind. And again, that's great because I can relate to that. I can remember those things. And then how she dipped into the body, it compares to the mind, the vibration. So you can, when I think of vibration, I think of a radio station. If the radio's not on, there's no vibration. But once you turn it on, I can relate to vibration, to what she's talking about, how my mind goes to that vibration. So she's tuning in for someone that doesn't know much about TM. And she used another power word. She goes clarity. In this world today, everybody wants clarity. And that's a real selling benefit. Not only to the body, but to the spirit and the soul, all the way around. Because everybody wants that. Because people are in deep stress, what she pointed out to, and the benefits of it is we're more restful, more alert, and those are great benefits. In addition to that, it has mental and physical health, which is a real plus, and it's rejuvenating. How she concluded her speech, which really got my attention. She goes, 5 years TM can drop years off of your aging, which is great. Alex had great crowd participation when she asked to raise your hands. And I like that because again, we're all getting involved, what she is. And so her body, her structure was all gone through. When she got to her closing, at the end of her closing, she gave a quote, and the quote was for her thing, and I'm sorry I didn't write down the quote, exactly what it was, but then you also gave from the originator of the TM. That's what the quote was about. My only suggestion was, everything was great. To continue on your body language, I think at the closing, you should have held up your two fingers again. You gave one, the quote from the gentleman who started TM, and two, I would have backed up a little bit about the 5 years TM, 12 years off your life, because that would have concluded your body. And that's how I would have ended. Other than that, wonderful job, Alex.
Thank you, Bob, for the wonderful evaluation. And now, before moving on to the next section of our today's meeting, which is the table topics, I would like to ask Karthik whether Alex was within her time or not.
Yes, Alex was within the time. Alex is qualified and Bob is as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Karthik. Now we shall move on to next section of our meeting, which is the table topics. Okay. And for today's table topic session, Dan is the table topic masters, and I'm sure he has prepared a set of wonderful questions for us. So Dan, kindly take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, for your confidence. And thank you, fellow Toastmasters, for your participation. I'm thanking you in advance. I have 6 questions. They're generally related to the theme of getting in gear. And all we need at this point is a willing volunteer, and away we'll go. Who is that person?
I have a question, Dan.
Okay.
I am a table topics evaluator tonight, but I see that there are 2 table topics masters. No.
If there are, that's a mistake.
I'm misreading. Dan is the only table topics master.
Okay.
Okay, so I may have a maximum of 4 or 5 people to evaluate. Just trying to get a handle on what I'm up to here.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping up at 8:29, so we've got about 16 minutes. It shouldn't be too many people. It'll be a group, that's for sure. Okay, who is first?
If nobody's volunteering, then I will go.
Very good, Vivek. I've got 1 through 6. Choose one.
Oh,
Choose one of those.
I don't get my favorite option, number 7. So I'll go with 1, I think.
Okay. How do you get yourself in gear to take on a difficult but necessary task? How do you get yourself in gear to take on a difficult but necessary task?
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topic Master. So how do I get myself in gear for a necessary but a difficult task? That is a really interesting question. And it happened to me recently. Recently, the process of searching for a job, since I am about to finish my on-campus study and I am looking for a job. So the process of looking for a job and several rounds of interviews and several hours of application and all the process, it seemed daunting to me. It seemed difficult to me. And it was not something that is you look forward to, because it is not so pleasant experience to go through everything. So how I prepared myself for the same is, first of all, I let go of my distractions, like the old habits that I had. So to clear up the time for the tasks, I set up a specific schedule and I stick up with the routine. So that was the first thing I did. And after that, it is difficult to get in motivation all the time, because you lose motivation, you get pessimistic sometimes, and it is very difficult to get in motivation all the time. So what I did was I used to constantly motivate myself, maybe through songs, maybe through some books, maybe through my journals or something that I read about. And through various mediums, I used to constantly motivate myself. So, and time to time, I used to have fun. Rather than thinking as a daunting process, I used to think of it as an adventure, and I used to have fun in the process. Like I used to think it as a new kind of adventure. So those are the 3 things that I used to get the difficult thing going. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Vivek, for that earnest answer. All right, who is going to be second? Sean, all right. You can choose from 2 through 6.
I think I'll stay on cue this time, Dan, and go with number 2.
Okay, we're getting really boring about this, folks, but that's your choice. Do you have different gears or steps that you use to accomplish a goal? Give an example. Do you have different gears or steps that you use to accomplish a goal? Give an example.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. I do have different gears or steps that I use to try and reach my goals. And I'll give a brief example of a piece of software that I've used for many years that helped me on my journey to reaching the goals. And that software is called followup.cc. Because as a salesperson, today's world, you live in email. So I'm always emailing my customers or prospects. And what followup.cc does is it allows you to blind copy or carbon copy, which I find works very effectively when I'm dealing with my coworkers, because they know I'm not going to let the project fall through the cracks. So if I email Dan, what's going on with this? And I want a response by Friday at 2 p.m. I use Friday at 2 p.m. at followup.cc. So Dan knows I need a response by then, or Sean's going to be calling Dan to find out the status. So it's kind of a progressive way of doing business. And I was coined the most progressive salesman in all of Iowa by one of my customers. So progressive stands for friendly, but yet aggressive. So I took that as a compliment, and I've been using it ever since. So the steps that I use to reach my goals, if it's urgent, it gets a 1-week follow-up. If it's super urgent, it gets a 1-day follow-up. And if it's like dynamite urgent, it needs to get done within the next couple of hours, boom, you can do follow-up CC down to the gnats of 5 minutes. So that's a tool that I've used for years. Again, followup.cc. It's the best $36 a month that you can spend. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Sean. As usual, you have sold us. All right, we've got time for more. Where are more eager volunteers? Raise your hand. Join in the fun. All right, Sue. We have, you can choose from 3 through 6.
I will choose 3.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
A recent news story stated that there is a resurgence in car buyers who want a manual transmission so that they can run through the gears instead of relying on an automatic.
Goodness.
Why do you think this is happening? Do you want me to repeat?
Yes, please.
A recent news story stated that there is a resurgence in car buyers who want a manual transmission so that they can run through the gears instead of relying on an automatic. Why do you think this is happening?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Tonight posed an interesting question. Why is there a resurgence on people requesting manual transmissions? Why would that be the case? I would say by popular demand, manual transmissions are not the first choice of those teaching individuals how to drive. A lot of us may have experienced driving lessons with the manual transmission, but definitely not our younger people. And I say that generally speaking without a lot of fact behind me, just by observation. So in saying that, I think it is a wonderful idea to bring back the manual transmissions, not only for more defensive driving, but also better for fuel economy and an overall confidence in the ability that an individual can be diverse in using both manual and automatic transmissions. I can tell you as a young Air Forceman, as of 22 years old, I was one of few that could drive a manual transmission, and often found myself driving around others that could not and were not expected to learn that for whatever reason. So that was something that gave me confidence and something that I wanted to share with others too. And I would highly encourage everyone to explore that opportunity and enjoy both aspects. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Table Topics Master, excuse me. That was tough.
Thank you, Sue.
Right.
We've got time for one or two more. Who is next?
I'll try it, Dan.
Bob. So far, everybody is picking in sequential order, but you could break that pattern if you wanted to, Bob.
Well, you know
But-
me, I'll flip script. I'll go 6.
There you go.
Okay.
On a slippery road, it's often better to start out in second gear so that the wheels start rolling slowly and can grip the road instead of spinning. How is this analogous to the way a slow and steady start to reaching a goal may be preferable? Do you want me to read it again? It was kind of long.
No, I think I got it.
All right.
I once read in a book that the Vikings, if I remember correctly, the Vikings sailed to a distant land to overtake another country. As they landed, the man in charge turned to the men and said, "Burn the ships." What? That's our only way home. If you want to move forward to meet the goal, you have to burn what's behind you. That does not mean start off in second gear. That means full throttle, do or die. You think, well, I don't know what A, B, C, and D is. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to know. All you need is a plan, and which starts with an idea, and you make others believe and follow you. Even if you don't even really know what you're doing, somehow the universe, life, nature, opens the doors and holds no doors shut and believes in no failure for a man that has a goal, has a dream, and doesn't care what's behind him. To answer that question, would I start off my goals in second gear? The answer is no. Once I've made that decision, it's fifth gear. Yes, I'm going to slip, I'm going to slide, I'm going to go in the ditch, I might hit a few stop signs, dodge a few deer, I might come home late, my dad might be mad at me, I might even crash his car, which means I have to get another one of his cars. However, once I've gone through all that process, I have reached my goal at my speed, how I see it, and where I'm going. Back to you, Mr. Tabletop.
Thank you, Bob. Well, that was an interesting history lesson. The Vikings were from the land of ice and snow, but they said, heck, we're not using second gear.
No.
I think we're officially out of time. This would be a Mr. Toastmaster decision. Do we want to sneak in one more, or do we want to end our topics at this point?
I think we can sneak in one more if there are volunteers interested.
All right. Does anybody feel sneaky? Jean feels sneaky.
I earnestly want to do this.
Oh, I'm glad that you earnestly want to do this. That is inspiring.
Mhm.
You can choose 4 or 5.
How about 4?
Many leisure activities, for example, playing music, photography, camping, involve purchasing gear. Tell us about an experience you had buying gear. Many leisure activities, for example, playing music, photography, camping, involve purchasing gear. Please tell us about an experience you had buying gear.
Oh, I can just see me going down the slopes in this skiing outfit that I'm buying. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I was in Denver. I lived in Denver for 12 years. I was just a single girl. And I thought that you have to learn to ski if you're in Denver, Colorado. That's just what you have to do. I had never learned, but I was going to learn. I was going to make myself, and I was going to get all the gear so I didn't have any excuses not to be successful. I had the sleek ski pants. I got the right jacket. I had goggles for my keep your eyes from being all covered up with snow. I bought the ski rack so I could get my skis on the top of my car, my little Subaru, and I bought snow tires so that you could go in the mountains. I mean, we're talking Rocky Mountains here. This is not small skiing environment. I rented skis for the season. So I could always have them ready, and I was going to do it by myself. I was going to be able to take everything up to the mountains, drive myself, and just buy a lesson and hang out there. Well, I was so overly prepared with gear, and it was so disappointing that I didn't learn to ski. I didn't have a lot of money, by the way. It takes a lot of money to ski on the mountains and buy tickets and everything. But I would just tootle around, and I was more scared I was going to hurt somebody else than hurt myself. So I was very tentative. I earnestly wanted to get this accomplished, and I didn't. And I feel like if I lived in Denver that long and did not learn how to ski, it was not meant to be.
Thank you, Jean. Let's ask our timer, Karthik, which of our speakers qualified?
And all our speakers qualified. Vivek, Sean, Susan, Bob, and Jean, all of them are qualified. Yep.
Very good. Let's send a vote in the chat to Vivek. He's the Toastmaster, so he compiles the votes. Just type TT and then your choice of the best table topic speaker.
Now let's move on to the evaluation session, if Art is ready. So Art, are you ready, or do you need some more time to evaluate?
So now you can switch off to me, Vivek, just because, I'm the general evaluator. I don't even, does it say that in the agenda? I'm not looking at the agenda.
Oh no, it doesn't say.
It doesn't say that.
It says afterwards. Okay. Okay, Jean, you can.
Well, that's the general idea is the general evaluator cover. Anyway, we may need to adjust our templates a little bit here. But anyway, so I'll take over. It sounds, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And we will now hear from Art. Are you ready to go with your table topics evaluation? How many do you have?
I can't even fit it all onto the window. I'm looking to see how many. I got 1, 2, 3,
5? You have 5.
4, 5. I got 5.
Okay. So Art, that's a fair amount. Do you want 3 to 4 or 4 to 5?
Let's go with 4:30.
So that's a 3 to 4 with a 30-second grace period?
Well, let's say 4 to 5.
Okay. Yeah, as long as you hit 4, you're okay. So as long as you hit 3 minutes, 30 seconds, you're okay. So you've got some leeway. All right, so Mr. Timer, you 4 to 5, green at 4, yellow at 4.5. Okay, great. All right, Art, well, thank you very much. And let's hear it for our table topics evaluator.
Well, fellow Toastmasters, this set of questions elicited a pretty wide variety of answers. Vivek started having heard a question about how, when he has a really big task, does he how does he get himself in gear? He took 30 seconds. He has an example of a situation where a professor gives him a really monster project. His technique is to stop and think for a while. Because of the way he speaks, and I have difficulty understanding the words at the end of sentences, I didn't catch the details of how his technique plays out in doing a large project. My suggestion for him is that he pick one particular project that was large, and rather than talk in the abstract about big projects in general, talk about one in particular. Sean took Q2. Does he have different steps depending on the project? And he took 30 seconds and answered directly yes. And he gave an immediate example, an item of software that he uses to keep his entire team on point, alert to the status of the projects he's undertaking and where they stand. He got a recognition for achievement of one project. He used his discussion. He wrapped up, he had a very good structure because he wrapped up his speech summarizing how he approached this kind of a project. And I don't have a just suggestion for Sean. Sue spoke next. She took 30 seconds. She repeated the question. She basically gave us her opinion. She speculated on why people don't learn to drive stick shift, and told a personal story of how when she was in the military, it ended up being a big plus. My suggestion would be one simple little thing to say, I don't know for sure why people don't. In other words, just admit that you're speculating. Otherwise, it was a great talk. Next was Bob Fogel, who got the question about, is there a reason why to start in second gear? And He told a Viking story to illustrate the principle of burning your ships behind you when you land on shore to invade, and use that to illustrate how you get a team of people to go directly into fifth gear. He shared with us his philosophy of allowing the team to get to a do or die attitude. I don't have a suggestion for Bob, aside from a minor suggestion that you just identify it as your own story. Jean was very earnestly and interested in answering one of these questions. She gave us a personal story. She didn't take 30 seconds. She just launched into her story about having at one point decided to learn the downhill ski and purchasing every conceivable item of gear to make it happen, and going down the slopes. Did not end up learning to ski downhill the way she wanted to. And my suggestion for Jean would be to explain why at this point she can look back on it and see what was it she was missing that buying all this gear didn't substitute for it. Why didn't she learn how to ski? That's my report.
Well, thank you, Art. Mr. Timer, did both of our evaluators qualify?
Yes, both of our evaluators qualify.
Okay, great. So if you would please send a note to Vivek as our Toastmaster, you can just do an EV for your choice of evaluator for the evening. And we can keep going at that point. At that point, make my sentences go down. It's my new project. It's my big project. Don't want go up if it's a question. Otherwise, go down. It's a statement. All right, we're ready to head into our reports. And first, I'd like to hear from our timer, Karthik. If you could please give us the names and the times for everyone.
Yeah. Alex spoke for 6 minutes 50 seconds for her speech, and Bob evaluated her in 3 minutes exact. And then table topics, Vivek spoke for 2 minutes 26 seconds. Sean spoke for 2 minutes 16 seconds. Susan spoke for 1 minute 58 seconds. Bob spoke for 1 minute 47 seconds. Jean spoke for 2 minutes. Then table topics evaluation, Art took 5 minutes 5 seconds, and that is my report.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now let's hear from our grammarian, Dan Craig.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I heard Jean use earnest twice. I heard Art use it once. I heard myself use it a few times. I guess I don't get to count those. Did I miss anybody? Here are some phrases that I heard tonight that I thought were colorful or interesting. In Alex's talk, she said, to increase one's sense of well-being. Also, the source of thought beyond the finest level of activity. And when the mind settles, the body also settles. When Vivek spoke, he used the word daunting, which I thought was an unusual word. I thought it was very apropos to what he was trying to put across. Sean said, the best $36 a month you could ever spend. And I just thought, where do I sign up? Sue used by popular demand. Bob used burn the ships, and somehow the universe opens the door. And Jean finally said, I was so overly prepared with gear. That's my report. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Dan. Now we get to hear from our awe counter, Sue Fry.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, everyone did excellent tonight. We had very few things to report here. Art had 2 ums and 1 and. Sean had 3 so's and 2 ands. Let's see, am I forgetting? And I believe Vivek just had 2 ums and 1 and. Overall, everyone did wonderful. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always good to keep those ahs and ums and ahs in check. Keep them minimized. Now it looks like we have a joke master, and that would be me. And let me just get those here. My jokes tonight are more based on gears than motivational getting in gear. So here we go. As a German, I have to ask, you know what really grinds my gears? First of all, are you familiar with that term, everybody? Grinds my gears, like really annoys me? Nothing. Our engineering is perfect. Germans being known for perfect engineering. How do you change gears in a coffin car? And these are riddles, but I don't want to hang us up here too much. Any guesses?
Repeat it, please.
How do you change gears in a coffin car? You have to
Okay.
You have to work the graveyard shift.
Oh dear.
I suspect the gears on my bike are no good. Of late, they have been very shifty. And you know what we're talking about when you shift gears, but shifty also means not to be trusted. Okay, this is like English. We're also learning English phrases here, so this is good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the wooden car with the wooden tires, wooden gears, and a wooden steering wheel?
It wouldn't go.
Oh, got it. It wouldn't go. It wouldn't go.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, the last one. And this is a blonde joke, and I really don't like blonde jokes. I'm not a blonde. I'm really a natural brunette, but agers. But I'm just going to say a clueless person. A clueless person called his car customer service saying he could only drive his car during the day. During the night, it didn't move at all. The mechanic comes up and after an inspection couldn't find anything wrong. You sure you put in the right fuel? Yep, I put in petrol. Eventually, he asks him if he's using the right gears. He says, of course, I'm not stupid. I'm using D during the day and N during the night.
Oh my goodness. Very good.
And those are my jokes. So back to me. Yeah.
Jean, why is that a blonde joke? I didn't get it.
Well,
I mean,
there's a whole.
I got the D and N, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, what is a blonde joke? So there's a whole group of jokes that refer to female blondes, and the hook is that they're not very intelligent. They're dumb. And so those are blonde jokes. So So that's the thing. You can say blonde
Like,
joke.
I think
Get
you
it?
can relate to Punjabi jokes in India, like they say in India, Punjabi jokes. So it is similar to that.
Yeah, okay. It's just somebody who's doesn't have all the crayons in the box, or, you know, is missing some pencils in the pencil drawer or something.
Just a shell.
Yeah, it's just,
Marbles.
so I think I don't know. It kind of bugs me a little bit because it's a little bit, you know. Anyway, but that's it. Does that answer your question?
Okay.
Explain
Yeah,
the section.
I was just thinking if the DNN is something relevant to blonde or something like that.
No,
That's why.
no. Blonde is
Okay.
related to doing something dumb. Okay. That's it. Okay.
They're openly sexist. They're not
It's very
sexist.
sexist. It's very sexist. That's why I like to change it up, because, you know, anyone can be dumb. It's not like blondes are dumb. And since I happen to be masquerading as a blonde right now, I do have a vested interest in avoiding those kinds of jokes or not putting energy into them. All righty. Okay. As I will now give some general evaluator comments. I will say that I kept listening and then I would realize, oh no, you're supposed to be evaluating this. So it was a little bit that way. Bob evaluated Alex. I really am liking how Bob's evaluation skills are evolving. He points out tools that Alex is using in her speech to make it more effective. Talked about power words that she's using, and he gives examples, which shows that he's really listening and he's focusing, and he brings that focus to the attention of the audience, so the audience learns. He went through the structure of her speech, giving comments on why each portion was effective. And he focused in on the conclusion. He also noted a quote. A quote, of course, adds variety to content. That's always a nice feature to have. He focused not just on her speech, but also on the objectives for the speech, which was gestures and working on gestures. He used her power words because she was supposed to be also looking for good word usage. Vocal variety, I don't know that he commented on that. I don't have that project because I have an earlier version of the projects. By the way, is someone timing me? I should be timed 3 to 4 minutes, or I will run us on late into the night.
I didn't. Okay.
Okay, good. I got a bonus. All right, there we go. The only thing I would say for Bob, so Bob he was mentioning the 2 fingers, something to really emphasize the summary points that you want the audience to go away with, whether it's 2 or 3, but that's a key piece. That's a lot of what they're going to remember. And I know this is a professional speech for Alex because she's learning how to present this type of speech. I think in terms of an overall talk here with us, the addition could be, and I know I'm evaluating Alex, but this is something Bob could have mentioned to Alex because we're so big on stories, would be to Alex to have 2 or 3 sentences about something she noticed after she started meditating. You know, I noticed that. And so that's a whole different, adds a different personal flavor. Okay. Puppy's asleep here, having a dream. Art had the really challenging evaluation of table topics. A couple things I heard about Art. I didn't hear that he was stating the question at the beginning. He did. I didn't hear it for Vivek or Sean or Sue. I may have missed it. He did say it for Bob about the second gear. He reminded us of what the question was. My basic suggestion to Art definitely shows skills in listening. He really repeats, he's really got clear what the speaker said and when they said it and the progression. I would just continue to encourage Art not to spend too much time on repeating content for the audience, because we were there. We always say that, and keep working on what is the structure, what are some pieces that the person could have done within the content that they delivered. I really like the suggestion he gave me. Why wouldn't I learn to ski after all of that gear investment? And that's another story. It's too cold. It was so much work. It was just like not fun. I couldn't wait to go home. All right, but that's that. Thank you. Okay. So with that, I'm having a little side conversation with Vivek. That's our Toastmaster. Vivek, what happens behind closed doors is only you know.
Okay.
Okay. It's up to you. It's fine. All right. So with that, I will turn it back over to Vivek. Wonderful meeting tonight, really. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Jean.
Mhm.
And now we are almost at the end of the meeting. And now it is the time for the awards ceremony. So, guys, drum rolls, please, for the awards.
There we go.
Okay. So, who is the best speaker? Any guess? Any guesses? Alex!
Alex.
Alex! The best speaker.
All right. Good job, Alex.
Okay. Now, the best table topic speaker. Any guesses? It's on.
Sean.
Son is chosen.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Job, Sean.
Immediate follow-up required. Urgent.
Oh. You mean Arjun Arjun, you mean the next one? The second person?
No,
Oh.
No,
You mean
she
the
just
evaluator?
evaluator.
Okay. Okay. The best evaluator. Any guesses? Drum roll. It's none other than Art.
Art.
Oh.
Okay.
Even on time, under time.
Yes.
Okay. It was a great fun meeting, and I hope everyone loved it.
Mhm.
And now I'd like to thank everyone, especially our guest, Sushil, and I hope he continues to attend our next meetings also.
Mhm.
And now I would like to hand over the meeting to our President Bob for the closing remarks.
Mhm.
Thank you, Vivek. Did a great job being Toastmaster this evening.
Mhm.
We get a minute or two before we close. A couple things. Giselle, would you be willing to, you don't have to show your face, but audio? Would you have anything that you took away or that from the meeting? Or would you like to add to?
Yeah. Well, definitely, this kind of format was completely new for me. I always only heard about the Toastmasters meeting, but I never was able to attend one. And this, this was completely new thing to me. And definitely, I'd like to join it again and be a part of it. But yeah, talking like everyone did looked a little bit overwhelming right now, but yeah, maybe I will be able to overcome this fear.
Great.
Yeah, good.
How did you find out about our meeting, Sean?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
How did you find, who invited you?
Invited you. Is that correct?
I was talking with Vivek this afternoon in the lunch, and then he informed me about this meeting, and since I always wanted to join. So he invited me here.
All right. Quebec, talking up Toastmasters. Woo!
And I think this is my last meeting for a couple of weeks, maybe. So I'm appointing my successor who will attend the other meetings in behalf of.
Well, come back as soon as you can.
Okay. Whenever I can, I'll definitely join.
Mhm.
But I'm so hectic. It is so hectic. So
Mhm.
Great job with that. Is there anyone else that had the opportunity to invite someone to our meeting, whether they showed or not? Doesn't matter if you emailed them, if you called them, if you shook hands on the street, all counts. Anybody else? Yay, Alex. Yes.
Yeah, I invited my cousin, but I think she left work late and she couldn't join.
Okay.
All right. Fantastic.
Next time, whenever. Mhm. Mhm.
John, one other thing I wanted to note is when Sue gave the report, the account, I found, and maybe some of the rest of you, I used to really struggle to hold the ahs, the ers, and ums, and it's almost natural, becoming more natural, not using those filler words. Does anyone else have that experience?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, you can listen to other fellow speakers or just your average person, how much they do use them. And it kind of like, oh, can we just get to the point and not use all those filler words all the time? I love it.
Mhm. Mhm. It's good.
Anyone else that would like to add in before we close the meeting? We have 1 minute left. Oh, no, 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
Well, as usual, it's officially closed.